Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. That's right, I said channel. I'm sure a couple of you are loving that there is a channel now. We are in week 2 of Operation Quarantine. Still loving your beds grade 7, or are you wishing you were back at school yet? So in today's video, we're going to summarize what you explored last week about finding the perimeter of part of a circle. And let's not be like Dory and forget how to find the circumference of a circle. So today we're going to be focusing on finding the perimeter of a quarter circle, a semicircle, and 3/4 of a circle. Let's get started. So let's take a look at our first example. If we want to find the perimeter of this semicircle, which is half a circle, we can imagine we had the whole circle. Now we can identify what this 6 meters represents. Does this 6 meters represent the radius or the diameter of the circle? Exactly, it's the diameter. So what we can do is we can find the circumference of the whole circle. So we have C is equal to pi times d, and then substitute d for the diameter, which is 6. So now we get 6 pi. But we only have half the circle. So we just found the circumference, which is the distance around the whole circle, but since we only want half of the circle, we're going to need to divide this circumference by 2. So let's make another formula for what our perimeter is going to be equal to. Our perimeter is going to be equal to my circumference divided by 2 plus this diameter, because the little man has to walk around half the circle and then across it. So then now we have 6 pi divided by 2 plus 6. Now if we take a look at this fraction here, we can actually simplify it, because this is actually like saying 6 over 2 times pi. And so we can just look at the fraction portion, and 6 over 2 simplifies to 3. So we have 3 times pi, which is just 3 pi. So we get that the circumference is equal to 3 pi plus 6. So now we can use our calculator to figure out what this is equal to. And what's great about that Desmos app that I asked you guys to download is that we can actually punch 3 pi plus 6 right into the calculator. So when we do that, see how we get the answer of 15.4247776, and that would keep going, right? So we could round this answer to the nearest 2 decimal places, and so we would have to look at the 2 numbers we want. We can now look to the right. This is less than 5, so we're going to keep this at 15.42 and meters, and this is rounded to 2 decimal places. So let's take a moment to pause the video, and let's take a moment to try this one out. So moving on to example 2, here we're finding the perimeter of a quarter circle, or a quarter of a circle. So again, we have to imagine we have the whole entire circle, and then determine what does this 3 feet represent if we had the whole circle. So is it the radius or is it the diameter? Great, it's the radius. So the circumference of the whole circle is C is equal to 2 pi r, and I'm using this formula because I'm given the radius. And then substituting our values, we get C is equal to 2 times pi times 3, and that simplifies to 6 pi. But again, this is the whole circle, and we only have a quarter, so what we're going to need to do is divide the circumference by 4. So we can write that our perimeter is going to be equal to my circumference divided by 4, which is this section, plus we're going to have to add this distance from here to here, which is a radius, so plus r. And then we have to add this section here, which is another radius, so another plus r. So we have, when we substitute everything in, we're going to get 6 pi divided by 4 plus 3 plus 3, which is going to give us 6 pi over 4 plus 6. And now if we look at this fraction, 6 pi over 4, that simplifies to 3 pi over 2, and then we have plus 6. So again, we can use Desmos to calculate this. So we can enter 3 pi and the division sign, and then the 2, and then we just tap to make it move over, and then plus 6. And when we make that division side, it automatically made it a fraction. And then it gives us 10.7123, and we can round this to the nearest tenth, and we get 10.7 feet. And we can write in parentheses 1 decimal place. So here we have our second try it question. So take a moment to pause the video for this one and try to find the perimeter of this one. So here we are at our last example for this video, and we're going to find the perimeter of 3/4 of a circle. So looking at this picture, we can identify if 7 centimeters that's given here is the diameter or the radius. Great. So from here, we can find out our circumference formula. So we've got C is equal to 2 pi r. Substituting our values, we have 2 times pi times r, times 7. That simplifies to 14 pi. And now we have 3/4 of the circle. So that means we have 3/4 of the circumference. So notice that I'm stressing the word of here because we've talked about this before. When we have a fraction of something, it's saying we are using multiplication. So our perimeter can be written as 3/4 times the circumference, and then we need to add this distance from here to here, which is a radius, and this distance from here to here, which is another radius, so plus another r. And now we can make our substitutions. We have 3/4 times 14 pi plus 7 plus 7. And further simplifying, we get 3/4 times 14 pi plus 14. And we can simplify this part here because they're multiplying. So both 4 and 14 are divisible by 2. So now we have 3/2 times 7 pi and then plus 14. So we can use Desmos and then just typing this in the exact same way you've got it written down. And then when we use the brackets, Desmos is going to know that you're multiplying. So we have 3/2 in parentheses 7 pi, close parentheses, plus 14, and we get 46.986. So let's round this to the nearest tenth. We're going to look to the right, and it's greater than 5, so we need to round up. And since this is a 9, we're also going to have to round up the ones place. So we get our perimeter is 47.0 centimeters to 1 decimal place. And I'm still putting this 0 here because we want to make sure that we have one number after the decimal when we're rounding to 1 decimal place. So this is your last try question for this video in grade 7. I can say this for realsy this time. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more math learning fun. See you in my next video.